Hi, and welcome to the Bulldog Blitz. This week, you got stuck with us as your hosts.
Well, they don't know who us is, Kelsey.
Oh, well, I'm Kelsey Royalty.
And I'm Johnny Richards.
And take a look what we have for you this week. Samford's football game last Saturday against Wofford turned out to be quite the dogfight. Senior wide receiver Carell Hamilton was first to light up the scoreboard with the first touchdown of the game off of a 2-yard pass from quarterback Devlin Hodges. The following possession for Watford, however, was a 7-yard touchdown run by Will Gay to tie up the score. Well into the second quarter, a Wofford field goal gave them their first lead of the game. Hodges quickly put an end to that lead with a 23-yard touchdown pass to sophomore wide receiver Andrew Harris, his second touchdown of the season. The Bulldog offensive charge continued when Hamilton turned on the Jets and extended the Bulldog lead to 21-10 off an excellent 53-yard pass from Hodges. Seconds before halftime, Wofford squeezed through the Samford defense on a 1-yard run to bring the score within 4. The third quarter brought a drought in scoring for the Bulldogs as well as the Terriers. Superb defense continued to be a staple for the Dogs. Linebackers Shahid Salmon and Tanae Asibovo bullied the Terriers throughout the game. As a result, Wofford was forced to use their kicker, David Marvin, to kick a field goal. He brought the score to 21-20 heading into the fourth quarter, with Samford barely holding the lead. With the Terriers nipping at the heels of our Bulldogs in the fourth quarter, Hodges found Emmanuel Obajimi for a 13-yard touchdown pass. Just when Samford fans began to relax, Wofford's Lorenzo Long ran 16 yards in for a touchdown. Just over 3 minutes left, and Wofford made the call to go for a 2-point conversion in an attempt to bring the score to an even 28 and failed. Samford's Ahmad Gooden intercepted the attempt and electrified the Bulldogs to finish out the hard-fought battle with a win. Samford now holds a 1-1 record in conference and a 3-1 record on the season. All right, Johnny, let's talk about those sports we might have missed last week.
Definitely, let's take a look.
This past Sunday, Samford women's soccer defended their home field in a matchup against the Citadel. The most notable highlights of the win were a pair of goals by senior forward Jermaine Siapasenwe and another shutout for junior goalkeeper Anna Maddox to go to 6-0 on the season. With the victory, Samford, now 3-1 in SoCon play, improved to a 6-1 record at home this season and a 9-1-1 all-time record against the Citadel. Prior to their Sunday win, the Bulldogs faced Mercer on Friday in another SoCon matchup in which they won 2-0. The game featured goals from Jermaine Siapasenwe and Sarah Smeltzer. The Bulldogs travel this weekend to Chattanooga to take on the Mocs this Friday at 6 p.m. The Samford University volleyball team dropped its first Southern Conference road match of the season in a 3-1 decision against Western Carolina University on Saturday, October 1st, inside the Ramsey Center. The Bulldogs, now 1-2 in SoCon play, dropped their second straight SoCon match of the season, while the West Carolina Catamounts bounced back to improve to a 7-9 overall record and a 2-1 in SoCon play after the team suffered a 3-0 defeat at Furman the previous night. Senior Erin Bogner was set 47 times in the match, which is the second most attempts by her in a 4-set match and the third most on the team this season. The team attack percentage of .087 is the third lowest attack percentage by the Bulldogs this season. Wyoming, .043, and Alabama, .050, are the only other matches where Samford volleyball hit below 100.
I'm Brian Hill out here today at the Samford Track and Field and Soccer Stadium with Trey Oates. How you doing, Trey?
Good. Thanks.
Doing all right?
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Well, we just want to get you out here and talk to you about some of your history, how you became attracted to the sport of track and more specifically pole vaulting.
Yeah, so I kind of started freshman year when I started in high school in track. My dad ran track. He ran hurdles, ran long distance, and he was a really good track athlete. And so he kind of pushed me towards hurdles. And I started pole vaulting because my best friend told me that pole vaulters didn't run at practice. And so I was like, oh, that sounds great. So I went over there with him, and I just was good at it, and I stuck with it. And kind of just kept with it all throughout high school.
So your dad and maybe Coach Tiffin now, how has he been played a role in your success and your training?
I mean, Coach T is awesome. He's one of the main reasons I came here. And I was looking at a lot of schools, but Coach Tiffin called me about every week. Just called me at work just to like check in and be like, hey, what's up? And so I think I've developed a pretty good relationship with him now. You know, it's not like I'm his second son kind of thing, but we definitely have a really close relationship.
So got that coach-athlete, line where you got it defined, yeah.
A lot of respect. So.
Okay. Well, this season's a big season for you, coming off a really, really big outdoor season this past year. What are your goals maybe for this year's indoor and outdoor seasons?
Well, I definitely have some like hard set goals. 580 is the number that I'm going for. That's 19 feet. And then kind of like some soft goals are, obviously win conference, hopefully break Michael Siemens from Samford's conference record.
And what's that?
For indoor, 545, I believe, which is 1710. So those are two. And then the two big soft goals are win indoor and outdoor nationals, because I think that would just be huge for Samford and everything we've been doing. The big goal over everything is to try to make a world's team. So it would be the equivalent of making an Olympic team. It's just not an Olympic year. So it would be the same thing. I'd have to be top 3 at the U.S. Championships this year in Eugene. I think it's like 2 weeks after nationals. So make top 3 and then make a world's team and 1 or 2 people.
Awesome. Well, kind of last thing we want to sit and talk about is how close this past summer you came to making the Olympic team for Rio.
Yeah, it was painfully close. So, I had 565 was my PR going in, which is 18.6. The Olympic qualifier, which is what you have to jump to go to the Olympics, was 570, as well as being top 3 at the trials. And so after prelims, I was talking to Coach T, and my perfect scenario going into the finals would have been 2 guys that have already had the Olympic A standard jump the Olympic A standard, and just me jumping at 570 to get in. So that was exactly what happened. I passed a height which put me into 3rd place if I would have cleared 570, and I had 3 attempts at it. On my 3rd jump, I knew I'd missed it, and the guy who went instead of me, Logan Cunningham, his coach, you can kind of hear it in the video, she just screams, out of excitement, and I thought it was my mom screaming out of whatever. So,
of course, yeah.
But yeah, it was close, about 2 inches.
2
away.
inches.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's all we've got today with Samford pole vaulter Trey Oates.
Thanks.
Hello, this is Johnny Richards with the Samford Blitz. I'm here with Kurt Bloom, the voice of the Birmingham Barons and also the voice of the Bulldogs on the ESPN3 broadcast. Thank you for being here, Kurt. And as we look forward to this weekend with Samford traveling up to Furman, what sticks out to you about this matchup?
Furman becomes a dangerous team. The first thing that sticks out is their record. They're 0-5. They haven't won a game. But when you take a look further inside the numbers, 4 of their 5 teams that they've played have been ranked. And it doesn't matter what sport it is, Johnny, whether it's baseball, football, basketball, or you and I, bowling. The worst thing is to have a wounded team and a team that has nothing to play for. And so, to go up in the SoCon and think, well, they're 0-5, they have no chance of win. I know Coach Hatcher will do a job preparing them and saying, don't look at their record, because when we play them, they'll be 0-0. The record tells you they're 0-5, and the record also says they've played 4 really good teams.
Absolutely. And then if you look even closer, like you said, the matchup gets even more intriguing, considering that Furman comes in as the 2nd best pass defensive team in the SoCon, and Devlin Hodges is pretty much the center focal point of the offense for Samford. And we just really don't have a whole lot of running game going. And just further on that, do you expect the Bulldogs to try and get the ground game going coming in knowing that?
That's a good question, and I think we get that question and answer session every Thursday when we sit down with Coach Hatcher and the 2 coordinators, and that's the first thing we say: is the running game going to get started? A couple of answers to that. First of all, you're always going to try. I mean, you just can't throw 60 passes and expect Devlin to win the game that way. And the second thing is the Samford offense is geared. All those bubble screens, all these little flanker wideouts is what we used to call them. That is the same thing as a Samford run. Right. So if you see Manny get the ball 2 yards ahead of the line of scrimmage, that's the same thing as handing the ball off.
Definitely. And just like you finished saying, we are getting really creative with that passing offense. And another thing to be looking out for, I'm sure, will be the fact that Furman's coming in with 2 of the top 10 tacklers in that SoCon. Is there a specific way that you see the Samford offense attacking the defense, knowing that their pass defense is really strong and that those 2 tacklers are lurking on the defensive side for Furman?
Johnny, I obviously haven't been around the program as long as Mike and as long as others, but it's very simple to see that Chris Hatcher's game plan is always, we're going to do what we do best, and a very simple way of putting it, we're going to put the ball in the hands of the playmakers. So Manny and KJ and the receiving core, those guys will get a lot of touches regardless, whether they're playing Furman, whether they're playing Chattanooga, whether they're playing the top team, the bottom team. Get the ball in the guys who can make plays. Get the ball in the hands of the guys who can make the plays. So, no, he won't alter it because of their numbers or stats. He's going to say, look, this is what we do best. Let's see if our best matches up against your best.
Definitely. Yeah, that'll be a really interesting matchup this weekend on Saturday at 12 o'clock Eastern Time as they kick it off from the Furman Stadium. And I thank you so much for being here. Well, Kelsey, that's all the time we have for today.
Yep, so catch us next week on The Blitz, and thanks for watching.